So, for those of you who are watching this, first of all, welcome to this first episode that I want to call On a Personal Note with Adarsh Sakare. By now, you must have seen on my Instagram the pictures of this new setup. The reason behind this new setup is pretty simple. I wanted a nice professional setup so that I can interview people who are doing interesting things in their life. And we are going to get some interesting stories out of that. So, that's what I want to deliver to you. We have our first guest here today. Bharat, say hi to the people.
What up?
Bharat is here. Bharat, Darira. There are two simple reasons why he is the first guest on this show called On a Personal Note with Adarsh Sakare. One is because you were the first people who told me that you want to be on the show and you want to get interviewed. Okay. And you gave me that respect in terms of what ideas I was forming. Second, obviously, he has just released his short film on Hotstar. In my circle, I haven't known anyone who has been able to reach that level of success as a filmmaker. So I really admire that about you.
Thanks, man.
In fact, we are going to get to that as the first point. Okay.
Done.
But before that, Bharat, how do you feel being here?
Good, man. I mean, I'm glad I'm losing my podcast virginity to you. I wouldn't want it to be anyone else.
Is that a real term, podcast virginity?
I mean, it is now.
It is okay.
I mean, it's true, right? I'm a podcast virgin and you're taking it.
Am I one too then?
We both are taking each other's podcast virginity here.
Actually, I think I hit first and second base in the few
podcast?
others before this podcast.
Man, I feel cheated.
Before this podcast, I've interviewed two people, but like
Alright,
I said, man, I think I wanted a more professional setup. Right?
Going all the way.
Yeah, going all the way because I feel like this is something I want to take it on a larger scale, right? And you definitely fit the right example for being the first guest of what this show is going to stand for, right? So, Bharat, before we start with the show, before anything else, I want to address this one little point. You just released your short film on Hotstar.
Yep.
Now, Hotstar is obviously one of the upcoming platforms, right? Most of them are on Hotstar now. And how does it feel to have your short film on Hotstar? First, let's address that.
Man, super surreal, dude. That's
Okay.
that's the first thing that comes to head. Like I told you the other day, the first time I saw it,
Okay.
I took 3 other people's phone to check. Like it's still there, right? And I just kept checking every hour, like, oh, it's still up.
Mm-hmm.
So, long time coming, man, but we
But
finally got there.
you finally got there. So, what was your first impression? Like, what was your first feeling when you realized that it's out?
Fuck. I think this
Vinay,
just the word describes the entire sentiment.
I know Vinay wants to, kind of beep this, but we have decided to let it stay. Right. So that's nice. I mean, I can understand because, I wish I get to a day where I, can partner with one of these platforms and something that I make can come up. And maybe then I'll understand what you feel.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
So, I understand now that you're happy with the fact that it's come out on Hotstar, but the basic reason why I want to interview you is this, right? You are a filmmaker today, but back when the dream started, back when you wanted to start off, what was that first spark, man? What was it? What is just a casual idea? What's the motivation behind it? What was the seed is what I want to know.
So it was. So I can't trace back to one particular moment. Okay, it's these multiple moments that kind of happened one after the other. I think I kind of pinpoint to.
Okay.
It kind of just grew stronger with that.
Is it?
Like it wasn't this one.
Can you
big-
mention a few moments that
Yeah.
made you want to be a filmmaker?
So one of the major ones was I was working. So I studied animation filmmaking,
Okay.
and I was
And
working.
when was this?
So this is back in 2013,
Okay.
2013, 2012.
Mm.
So what I'm doing here is I'm working on my SEM project where I make a stop motion animation film.
Yeah.
So I have this camera and I have these stop motion characters and I have this idea that I need to pin down and I need to make this. So basically I was supposed to have a crew. I had like a bunch of
Okay.
3 students do a project.
Mm.
and the other two that I was working with kind of backed out
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason. So I just picked this camera up and I started shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I spent like about 3 days just shooting it and editing it myself.
Okay.
And I was sitting there at like 3 a.m. with my laptop, and I'm like, this was an idea in the back of my head, something that did not exist, and you've got something to life here
Yeah.
that you can put out to the world.
Yeah.
And that's like the best high I've ever got, and since then I was been hooked.
But then now you got into animation and filmmaking, right? How did that happen? Like, why did you choose animation and filmmaking? I want to go even before that.
Pretty simple. I was horrible at school.
Okay.
Okay.
So
The only thing
what were you like? Were you a last bencher? Were you a first bencher?
if
What
there was a space behind the last bencher, then
That's where
I
you
would
belong.
make it.
Okay.
Okay, so I sucked at school, but I was somewhat decent with graphics and drawing.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, okay, get into the animation field because it's the only thing you can get into
Okay.
with the way you've scored. And that's how we've looked at
What were
creative
your-
fields, right?
What were your parents' reactions at that time when you sucked at all this?
See, it's not that I start sucking at 8th grade or 9th grade.
Okay, you're
I
just
was
generally-
miserable from beginning.
Okay.
So the thing is, I was dyslexic growing up
Okay,
as a kid, and people had no idea what that was back in the
mm,
day. So this is like, oh, he's fucking retarded. Fine.
Yeah.
So I went
think,
with it.
in fact, that image is improving now, thankfully.
True.
Yeah, they're looking at it as something that, that's fine. Let's help you out with it.
But that gave me immense amount of freedom. Like, okay, there's no hope from him, so let him do what he wants.
Oh, yeah.
So that gave this entire sense of freedom of exploring with
So
art
suddenly
and all of that.
nothing great was expected out of you. You know what? Let him do whatever he wants.
Exactly.
So that led into saying, oh, you know what? Okay, let me do animation and filmmaking, and then, that one night happened where you said, okay, you know what? I like this high. I like where it's going. So I like this story, right? Most of the artists or people in the creative field have these moments in their life where they decide, dude, this is what I want to do. But I feel like that's just the first step, okay? And as soon as that first step occurs, your second realization is, shit, dude, this is hard. Like, this is tough. It's not as exciting as the dream because the work is tough. You can't put the work aside. Now, say you want to be the best filmmaker in the world. Yeah, you're good at it, you enjoy it, but you can't ignore the hard work. All right. So what I'm getting to is what became challenging now that you decided, okay, filmmaking is my thing. What became challenging to you?
So here's the thing with the whole hard work thing, right? I had that phase where I'm like, how are you going to get it done? And you don't know anyone from the industry, how you're going to go about it, what's the next move to make, who to meet, and all of that stuff. And yeah, I was very, again, like we all are, right? In the beginning, I was very result driven.
Okay.
In sense of, oh, you want a great film. And that's the goal. Everything else is suffering. You want a great film. So I was doing one of these workshops around filmmaking and acting and stuff. And someone just pulled me aside and said to me, chill out and try enjoying the process and see if you like that. Because you're going to go insane. If your only goal in life is the end result, you're going to be miserable for the entire fucking period. And that's what happened. So the entire aspect of what you call suffering was fun for me. Finding new challenges, and the entire process of filmmaking is it's a hustle, right? And it's problem solving. Once you're hooked to that, and that's the fun, you're not seeing any of it as what do you say, hardship and struggle and pain, because you're enjoying that.
Then how do you stay motivated?
Because you're enjoying that. You're enjoying your every day. You're not living for that one day when your film comes out.
So that you're saying that process is enough motivation to keep going.
You're hooked onto the process. You enjoy the process so much.
Have you really felt that? Have you felt that feeling?
Yeah,
Or
man.
Are you
It's
still
like
trying to?
No, it's like you watch like a heist film, right?
Yeah.
And you see what's the best part is when they're putting the team together.
Yeah.
That's the fun.
That's
Yeah,
the-
that's the whole
fun.
vibe. Like you're about to rob a bank, and you're putting out a plan, you're getting the right people.
The result is pretty obvious if you think of it. You're gonna do it, but the journey is what is exciting.
Yeah, if you can't have a blast while making it, then I would say let go.
Let go.
Or find something that you enjoy the process of.
So, wasn't there any point?
It's like
where you-
making kids. Like the process is
Okay, the process is what's
it's so
enjoyable.
amazing, right?
Yeah, when you make it, you're like, oh, is this it? Okay, listen. So I want to ask you this. You told me that it's enjoyable, but this is coming from a very personal thing that I'm going through sometimes. Okay, so I have my own goals in my life, and very often because of say external conditions, because of say parents, friends, your relatives, they don't get to see your vision, and I'm fine with that. Sometimes they don't see where you want to go with your life. But sometimes because of your downtime and a mix of that with their view on you might just make you to doubt yourself. Have you been through that?
Yeah, but I love using that as fuel.
Okay.
Like I'll fucking show you.
Okay.
Okay, you doubted me.
You doubt.
All right. I'm not going to
But
do anything vindictive about
Has it
it.
never put you down?
You do have low moments, but you bounce
Okay.
back, right?
Hmm.
You have a low moment. You put on good music. You go for a run. You watch a good movie, and you just reconnect and you're like, okay, this is why I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Like if I have a really low moment, I'll go watch a movie that inspired me to get making films, and I'm like, oh, it's worth it.
It's
This is
worth
why
it.
you're doing it.
Do you have like a group of friends who are all like filmmakers? Or do you have like one or two friends who are also filmmakers?
I
Does
have
that help?
I mean, everyone who is my friend, whether they're making films or not, are obsessed with films.
Okay.
They might not be working
with
in
films or with
films.
making films?
Watching films, and that's
Okay.
like priority number one.
Okay. For you to build your circle, to be your friend.
Yeah, man. Thinking back at it, I think that subconsciously that's been my number one
It's become
priority.
that?
Like,
Hmm.
no, it's just something to connect on really well, right?
Mhm,
And that's
mhm.
something I bond over art
bond over.
and.
But do you have filmmakers in your circle? Like, are you in touch, or are you saying, oh, you know what, I'm gonna pursue this all by myself?
I mean, I am in touch with a
Okay.
couple of people that their works I really admire.
Hmm.
But yeah, the journey is pretty much on your own.
How does it kind of differ? Why I'm asking you that is every artist at some point needs support from a fellow artist, right? I'm saying this from a long-term perspective. When you have, say, now Vinay, for example, he's into photography and videography, and he has his own goals. But say he faces a problem with the camera he's shooting from right now. He asks his photographer friend. Do you do something like that? Do you get help from a community is what I'm asking you.
A little bit. I mean, actually, see, the entire crew that I'm working with
Okay.
are filmmakers on their own. Like the guy who's working as an AD, he's made his own films. My cinematographer,
That's what
he
I'm-
aspires to make his own films.
And are
so-
these like work friends or like your real like buddies, day-to-day
Man,
buddies?
it's when you're in a friends with benefits with this girl and you're catching feelings for her, and you're in between, you don't know what's
You don't
going
know
on.
what's going on.
That's the relationship.
With these guys that you're working
Yeah,
with?
because the lines are so blurred, you
Ah.
really can't pinpoint. Okay, maybe you're just work friends, but you're passionate about talking about your new projects, and yeah, man, the lines are blurred. If I
The
have to put
lines
it
are
short.
blurred. So these guys that you just mentioned, are they the same guys who were on the team for your short film that's come out? By the way, we didn't mention the name. So the name of the short film is called Best Friend, and you guys can go and check it out on Hotstar. I think before we start talking about Best Friend, can you tell us a bit, like a sneak peek about Best Friend, so that they know what they're in for?
Oh man, where do I start from?
Mm.
So, as a sneak peek in the sense of what the story is about.
Yeah, just like if you had to tell us a few things. Like,
Man, it's
why should they watch it, dude? Why should they watch your short film? That's the question.
I mean, if you have a morbid sense of humor
Okay.
and you like films,
What
watch
sense of
it.
humor?
A
What's
morbid,
What's a morbid sense of humor?
a twisted sense of humor, a dark
Okay.
sense of humor.
Okay. So if they have a dark sense of humor, this is a perfect movie to watch. You're saying.
Yep.
Okay, so coming to your team that helped you make this film,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how was that experience? Now, for those who haven't yet watched it, obviously most of you wouldn't have watched it because it's just out, and at least in terms of my friends who are watching right now, I haven't posted about it yet. I'll post it so that you guys can go see it. Uh, ha- the what I would say is the setup in which you've shot it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even exaggerating to you guys. It's like any other Netflix show that you watch. The quality of it, like one of the first things that me and Bharat spoke about was how short films are treated as something that's just made in college, right? In college, everyone's like, dude, I want to make a short film, and it's just another shaky video with a bad audio quality. But do not underestimate the concept of a short film, because what Bharat has put out is something unbelievable. Why I'm saying it's unbelievable is that as an audience, it's so easy to watch something, right? Like we judge a show so quickly. The first 10 minutes of it, we're like, dude, it's not that great. I didn't get hooked. But then when you start looking at it from a creator's perspective, man, the effort that's going into making each bloody scene on that show, that is something I could see when I met you. Because how many minutes is the short film, by the way?
8.
8 minutes. So for that 8 minutes short film, how many, what was the duration that it took you?
For the hour we shot, I think about that entire day I worked
Okay.
for like 16 to 17 hours.
16 to 17 hours to shoot that 8 minute short film.
Yeah.
What about from the concept to delivery?
About a month and a half.
About a month and a half. So how was that process, man? Like, how did that feel? Like, see, first of all, you didn't know that it'll come out on Hotstar, right?
No, not at all. I had no idea where it's going to come out. So I was in a situation where I had no money also to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to sell off a couple of things that I had on me. I sold my camera.
Oh, really?
That was the
Then
major this thing.
Who shot the short film? So you must have rented it out.
Yeah, a
Okay.
more expensive one.
Okay, perfect. So you had to sell that off to make this happen.
Yep.
Mhm.
So that happened, and yeah, man, the entire year of 2019
Okay.
was, to put it lightly, a pain in the ass. So
Okay.
it was a lot of struggle. I was trying to make a couple of projects that constantly kept failing, and I was really fucking pissed off, and I wanted to make a film.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote it in that rage of like getting something done.
2019.
Yeah.
You wanted some bloody positivity.
Exactly. No, one is put out the way I was feeling
Okay.
through a film. Second is just the need to create, right?
The need to
I mean, as any creator, you'll understand if you've had that gap
Yeah.
since you've not done anything creative, you're going mad.
You're going mad. You're like, shit, I haven't put out any work.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So these multiple ideas came to me. I'm like, okay, who are the actors that I can rely on? So these two guys, Jagmohan and Yunus, I've
Okay.
worked with them a couple of times before.
Okay. Both are brilliant, man. Like,
Totally agreed.
I think we should get them on the show sometime.
We should totally
Yes.
do that.
So what do they do, by the way, in like their?
So Yunus is a dentist. He runs a food company and does multiple things.
Okay.
Jagmohan is working in sales right now.
Okay, so this is like they just came to help you out with it, and
They came to act.
they came to act, and it's something that they're doing on the side.
Both of them are
apart from their work.
really passionate about
They're
performing.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Anyway, coming back to how your experience was, you were explaining that.
Yeah, so I'm like, so this is what you do, right? When you don't have a budget,
Hmm.
you write with things around in your mind, like what you have already that you can incorporate,
Okay.
rather than trying to fetch things that you cannot afford. So trying to make the best of what you have, and the entire rage that I had, I wanted to channel it in a story.
Hmm.
And I was watching a couple of things that kind of had an influence on me, and I was really influenced by the whole Western vibe.
What is this Western vibe? What about it? What about it influenced you?
Just the way they are shot, right, and how timeless they are, and the whole vibe is so. What do you say? The subject matters go back to the lawmakers versus the lawbreakers, do or die situations, and you don't see that, right, in your day-to-day life.
Yeah. Yeah.
where it's about getting justice or fighting for your survival, like literal fighting of like the, what do you call that? Like the Mexican standoff,
Yeah.
right? You miss a second and you're dead. Like just two people going at it, at
You
each
don't see
other's
that.
throats.
You don't see that in everyday life.
Right. So I've always been fascinated with high stakes situation stories. So I was like, okay, how do you get that here with a bunch of Bangaloreans? If they had to go there, what would it take? Right. So I was like looking at, okay, let's say you take a corporate guy, he's working this job, right? He's fighting with office politics every day. He's coming home. He's not able to spend enough time with his wife.
Are we okay with giving them all this, or should they watch
This
it first?
this is like the whole backstory.
This is like a context. It's fine.
Right? Like every other
Yeah, yeah.
second IT dude in Bangalore living vibe. So what if it goes too far? What if the stress goes beyond control? What if you don't have that?
Beyond sanity.
Exactly. What if you don't have that break in middle? What if someone pushes your buttons to a point where like fuck it?
I can't fucking do this anymore. I'm done.
Yeah. Like once you snap, what happens after you snap?
And I think that's where people are gonna relate, man. I think that's where people are gonna relate, because most of them in our friend circles, you see that happening. Like they're pushed so much because of their job and their bosses and their peers in their corporate life that I don't know what they might start thinking what they'll do when they snap. So I'm glad, man. I'm glad this journey of yours of making the film was so, what do you say? I'm sure I can use the word profound, because it's one of your first projects at this scale, right?
Exactly.
And does it give you like the confidence to go, go bigger? And like, what are you thinking of next? Like, where does this push Bharat into?
Yeah, man. The goal has always been to go bigger.
Okay.
See, the thing is, when you go out as an artist, 99% of the people, they are going to perceive you for what you've done, for not what you're capable of.
Yeah.
So sometimes some projects are just to put that out, hey, I'm capable of this, so I can move on to step 10, to go on to bigger scales. So that's always been there in the back of the head. It's just that getting the resources and getting the experience and getting the exposure. So we're finally here, and the entire goal is just to go out there and say fascinating stories that I would love to watch. I love making those.
But what type? So is it always going to be dark comedy, twisted stories? Are you theme driven, genre driven, or are you open for exploration?
So see, dark humor just happens to be the way I look at the world.
Okay.
Right. I'm really fascinated with finding comedy where you're not supposed to find comedy.
Okay.
See, it's very easy to laugh when things are going great for you.
Yeah.
Right. Life's awesome. You've
It's
got
too
the
easy.
girl, you've got the job.
It's too easy.
Right. What
You've
if
got the
things...
home, you've got the car.
Yeah, what happens? What happens? Your grandmother has cancer. You're up to debt in EMIs.
Yeah.
You might lose your home.
Yeah.
That's when you need laughter the most, right? And if you're able to find humor at the worst point in life, then I think nothing can bring you down. I mean, if you can laugh at that.
Is that how you are in your life? Like, are you like that in your personal life?
Yeah, man. That just slips into my writing.
Is it? So tomorrow, I mean, touch wood, something goes wrong with your life, and is that how you cope with things? Dude,
Yeah, at the back of my
this is so fucked up that it's laughable at, and let's write a story out
Exactly. So recently I got into a fight with the cab driver, okay?
Okay.
And my phone pretty much my phone died.
Okay.
And I was like somewhere in the outskirts.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how I'm going to make it on time. And this guy's really pissed off. And I'm not holding man. We both are having a yelling match. And the first thought pops in, we're like, oh man, this is such a great film idea. And I'm just sitting quiet and I'm just thinking of like, okay, what if he goes into the forest and he tries to kill me, but in between...
You're turning that situation into a story for
Exactly.
yourself.
That's exactly how my head works. So
So you're saying you want to stick to that dark comedy vibe.
I mean, that's what I have. That's the vibe that I'm loving right now. Tomorrow, if I have a story that's on another genre altogether, I'll go for it.
Because I remember the first time I met you and I said I wanted to act in one of your movies, and I've pretty much forgotten the script, but
I still want to make it, so I don't want to put it out.
Okay, perfect. So even that was pretty dark, man. Like I never expected a story like that.
I mean, life is dark, isn't it? I mean, open the newspaper, man. The previous film that I
Life
made,
it's just that you have accepted it.
I'm celebrating it.
You're celebrating it. That's the fucking difference. Yeah, you were saying.
The shot that I've made recently and it's on the air, it's completely inspired and taken from the newspaper articles of 2020 and all the chaos that happened with the lockdown and stuff like that. I mean, I was on Netflix, Amazon and all of that to one side, and the stuff that I was getting from the newspaper, man. It's insane. Just go take the newspapers from the lockdown period. Find the most bizarre and insane stories.
Your ideas can come from the newspapers only.
A lot of them are.
You can just pick up the worst articles like the suicides to the robberies, and you're going to make a movie out of it.
That's what I do, man.
I mean, with all, no harm mentioned here. We are talking about the fact that even with something like suicide, you can take something out of it. Like, you can learn something from that. And the way you're going to portray it is going to be your perspective. Now, see, that's the beauty of it, right? For someone else, they might rather not even read the article or maybe get depressed about it. You're taking that and creating some art out of it, man.
True, man. See, we all have doors in our head that we don't want to open, right?
Yeah.
I want to open those doors and play with the spiders inside those rooms.
Oh, man.
Just explore every aspect of human nature. I think the most important thing what we should do as people is on an individual level or a society level is accept the fact that we have these qualities and these shades, that we are vain, we are murderous, we can turn into these people. Accept it, and then from there you can start rectifying. If you start off with the place, I'm ugly.
It's not happening.
That's just creating a lot of trouble.
I think
that can lead to like really messed up
things.
things.
It's very culture based, man. That's very culture based.
It's also an individual based thing, right? Like how you're gonna
how
look
how
at
much
yourself.
are you gonna accept of it, right?
How true can you be to yourself?
Yeah. So Bharat, when are we gonna look at you or see one of your movies on Netflix? Now I know you've put out a short film of 8 minutes. When is there gonna be a TV series directed by Bharat Darira?
I'm not sure about TV series, but I'm writing a feature.
Okay. What do you mean when you say writing a feature? What do you mean by that?
So a feature film is a full-length film that you watch on the big screens, what you would watch on Netflix. Anything above that 120-minute mark turns into a feature. Some places have it 80, some places have it 120 minutes.
Okay.
So anything below that is considered a short film. Anything above that or on that mark is considered a feature film.
And these are standards like set across platforms.
Yeah. No, that's that's just the rule.
Okay. So you're still writing that story?
Yes.
And what's the timeline like? If you had to set a goal for yourself, if it's possible. If it's not possible, you don't need to say it. But if it's possible for Bharat to set a timeline saying, this is when a feature film of mine is going to be showcased on Netflix, what would you say for that?
Oh man, see, that's the whole thing is when you make a film, one is you've spent time. See, this is a story that I need to do a lot of research for because I'm diving into a world that needs a lot of research. So that takes a bit of time. Getting it written takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
Finding producers takes it a bit of time. And if you do a festival circuit, then that takes a year or two. So you don't know. You just can't put a
2
time
years from now?
The whole thing to be out, I don't know. I really can't know.
Okay, that's fine.
It's so unpredictable, right?
But Bharat, I would, that's the time we can have you back again to speak about how you are now and how you had grown all the way till there. I think I would love to again listen to you at that point of time.
Once I made the feature,
Yeah.
for sure.
Who are
man.
your idols, man? Like, who are you looking up to these days? Is it like, is it on the screen, or do you know people who you look up to? Is there a godfather in the scene?
The biggest influence on me, right, as a person and as a creator would be Eminem.
Okay.
Right, just the entire way of how to create art, where it's coming from, how you can take something that's horrible and negative and you turn it into fuel. So all of that I picked up from his music.
From his music. Okay.
So he's like on top
So
of the
did he
influence
start
list.
Did he start influencing you right from school?
Yep.
Or
From
because I remember.
5th, 6th
By the way,
grade.
how old are you? I don't know that.
I'm 26.
You're 26, so we have the same age. Because it was from school that we got introduced to his music,
Yep.
and initially it was just a thing to do. That is listening to his music, and at least for me, as I grew older, is when I realized, dude, go into the lyrics, see what he's writing about, see his personal story, and that's where the motivation lies. So how was that process for you in terms of listening to his
So to me,
music?
it was. So I was in this space where, see, every individual, you grow up with this some sense of validation from coming from somewhere, right?
Okay.
Either you're a kid who's doing good at school, you're good academically, so you're getting your validation and happiness from that. That okay, you're studying well, you're being praised by your
Yeah.
parents, you're being praised, or you're the sports guy. You're doing
Yeah.
great in sports, you're getting your validation from there.
Hmm.
Or say maybe you're the good looking guy, you're the funny guy. It's some or
You're
the other way.
You're the class clown.
Exactly. See, some or the other way you're holding well. So I was coming from this space where nothing was fucking working out for me. Okay, and I had
There
the
is
whole
no
world.
identity.
Exactly.
Like, who is Bharat?
And I had the whole world constantly looking down on me and like
Ah.
giving me lectures and
Study
this,
well.
yeah, and there was nothing and I
spoil
couldn't.
your
I,
life.
yeah, exactly. All of that.
What are you gonna do with
You're
your
gonna end
life?
up in a mechanic shop and. I don't know who decided that fucking stereotype. It's going to be a mechanic shop that's going to scare all the
Who
children.
used to tell you that?
I mean, everyone, man.
Yeah.
Be it the teachers, be it relatives.
Oh, shit.
They made it their fucking duty to, hold you
Like,
down and give you that
okay.
lecture
Give you that
of
lecture.
like.
There's only a
do
certain
something.
way you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
be, and you're
exactly.
not being that way.
Exactly. So I listened to this music.
Okay.
Okay, at first I'm finding it hard to grasp, but I'm just like listening to songs on repeat, like what is he saying? And it was a fuck you to the entire world, and it
yeah,
pulled
from
out.
his music,
Yeah,
huh?
and it was, and I could slowly see the hypocrisy as you grew older. It's like all the people that pretended like they had their shit together, they didn't. They were pretending, and everything
They
they
were
told
pretending.
they told me about me was wrong.
It was wrong. Every
So-
wall that they built for you, no, it was useless. In fact,
Exactly.
it was limiting.
Exactly. So once I didn't need that sense of, so through that music I realized you don't need the world's validation
And
24/7.
acknowledgement for who you are.
Exactly.
Right? You get to do that. You decide for yourself.
True.
Mm.
So that's what fueled me, man. And I got into writing poetry. I wanted to write rap myself, and I was just fascinated with words and the power of words.
And all because
And what
of
they
him.
could do. Yep. Him, and then it just went deeper and deeper into hip hop. Through him, I got to know about
What were the other
Tupac,
artists?
Biggie Smalls, the entire hip hop culture. Because the entire hip hop culture was made of these kids who were outcasts, right?
Yeah.
Kids from the street who the world had neglected, and they told you like you can't make it anywhere. Your music is not going to go anywhere. They said hip hop was a phase; it'll go away. And today it's like the most consumed music in the world.
So empowering, man. Like,
Exactly.
most of the music is so empowering. I'm not so good with the lyrics, but even some tracks, just the music, man. Just the music, it gives you that pump. Gives you that
Exactly.
pump to keep going with your ideas. So another thing, to all of you watching, if you haven't watched the preview yet, here is the preview of Bharat's short film, Best Friend. So, Bharat, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, because of this experience that you've had of shooting the short film and putting it out, what are, say, two moments that stand out for you, or two experiences that are like, dude, what the hell happened there? Like, we would love to know about that.
I think the most fun experience I had, which like really stands out to me, was getting the grave for the film. So my cinematographer is at running around to the local police stations to get permission to shoot that day. So he's held up with that. This is one day before the shoot, and I had this genius idea of finding an actual grave digger to get my grave. Okay. So I go to the graveyard 1 week before. Okay, telling him, hey, I have the shoot on the 14th. Monday morning.
How do you decide which graveyard to go to? Just
I knew this really big graveyard that I passed by as a kid.
Okay.
So I'm like, hey,
that's why you
this
know
this
it.
base.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no other reason because you know it.
No.
Okay. Thank God.
So I go talk to him. Let's just say his name is Rajesh. Okay. So I go to Rajesh and I tell him, what's up, man? I need a grave. And he's like, dude, you need a death certificate and shit. I'm like, no, dude, it's not here.
It's not a real death.
It's for a film. It's outskirts. I'll drive you back and stuff. And he's like, okay, all good. And you pay me what you like, was his vibe. I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, he didn't really demand for anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Rajesh was chill with that. He's like, yeah, you just hit me up. You can't. I asked him for a number. He said, no, it's chill. You just come here. I'm not going anywhere, man. I stay here. I have a home right next to the graveyard. So it's all good. So the next day, right? 1 day before the shoot, I go to meet my man Rajesh. We need to pick him up and we take it to the grave, to the area where we need the grave dug. So I go there and stuff, and I'm looking for him, and I don't see him. I just see families and stuff. They're crying and weeping because someone's funeral is happening. And I'm just running around the graveyard here and there. It's like, where's Rajesh? And someone finally points out to him, right? And I run to him, okay, and he's actually digging someone's family is there, and there's a body and stuff like that, and
rituals are happening.
Exactly, and I run in between, fully excited, and the entire family is like, "What the fuck is happening?
Why is this guy excited at a funeral?"
Exactly, the whole family is all flabbergasted, and he tells me, "No, dude, I have like a real body on hand. You go to the other graveyard,
okay,
just a few blocks away, just a few walks away." You'll find another graveyard. You'll find a couple of dudes there. They'll be free. You pick them up. I'm like, okay, dude. So I get out. I go to this thing. I see a couple of dudes chilling. Okay. The reason why I'm describing them, you'll find out later. And these dudes are like the extra from KGF. Okay. They have like the big ass beard, muscled up, fucking 6'2". And all of them are just kicking it and chilling in the graveyard. And I'm like, bro, I need a grave digger. And like, yeah, we do that. What's up? And he's like, hey, I have this grave that I need. Like, dude, you need a certificate.
And all this is happening on shoot day or?
1 day before the shoot.
Okay.
1 day before the shoot.
Mm.
Okay. So like, what's the scene? What's the movie about? And I'm giving them the entire explanation, and I'm telling him it's there, and they're like, it's fucking 10K. So I'm like, all I have is 3K. Either you come do the job for me, or just give me a couple of tips, man, because I've not done this before. And they're just looking at each other, and they're like gossiping in Tamil. They're super suspicious of me. Okay.
No one's ever come to them and asked them.
Yeah,
to do
like,
this before.
hey, come here.
Come to a place and dig a grave.
Where I'm telling you, come dig a grave. And these guys are super suspicious, and they're discussing, should we go, but like, it's easy money and blah blah blah. So they're all talking in Tamil. I don't know much Tamil, but I can understand.
But are you,
I can pick
you're
up.
feeling like, okay, it might just work out.
Exactly. So yeah, they kind of here and there, they take a minute and they decide. So I have a friend that's driving me there. Okay, I don't have a bike, so my friend comes down, he picks me up. So we are all going, and I'm horrible with roads. Okay, I somehow managed to figure this space out. My phone's dying. Again, my phone's always dying every story. It's just me and charging. It just doesn't. Yeah, Okay, anyways, so we are driving off and we reached this space, and I'm like, hey, not here, we kind of need to move a little more that side. It's an empty vast space.
How do you decide a place where you want to dig a grave? Like,
We picked a nice spot. We picked a perfect location.
how do you decide which is a nice spot? Like, it should be diggable, obviously.
That I'm coming to. So what
Okay.
I was thinking of is I was just thinking in a very film sense. What looks more cinematic? Where's the sun setting? How's the light gonna be? Where I get the most room to play around with in that sense. So it takes a long time, and these dudes, again, to remind you, like 6'2" dudes, they're like, dude, I don't trust this guy. I'm finding this very suspicious. Let's go back. I don't find this guy safe. It's one dude telling to the other dude, right, throughout the journey, and I'm constantly convincing him it's a small
fine.
grave. We'll get it done quick, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this everything's banking on this, right? Because I have all the rentals ready.
You've already paid for that.
Exactly.
It's all waiting.
So everything is
And
set.
we can't cut shoot because that doubles up our expenses.
Exactly. And yeah, the entire film, the essence. I mean, it's a spoiler. I hope you watched it. Come back. The grave is like the essence of the.
I don't think it's a spoiler. There's a grave, you go watch it. You don't know anything about it right now.
Okay. So yeah, we finally get there. I finally somehow figure out the right spot and the location, and I look at them. Here, it's here, man. Let's get it done. Because the sun's setting, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a forest area. You don't want to
Right.
be there once
You
it's
wanna-
like really
You
dark.
want to get out.
True. So they look at that place and like, damn, dude, it's not happening. I'm like, why? What? The ground is too hard, bro. The soil is too hard. We can't dig a grave here. I'm like, what fucking bullshit, man.
What
It's like
time of the day? What time of the day was this?
This is, I think, around like 4:35.
Okay, so
Okay.
it's pretty tensed.
Exactly. And tomorrow early morning is the shoot. So this dude is like, yeah, man, sorry. Just please pay me for the petrol and I need to head back. And the other guy's like, see, I told you it's not safe. This is not right. Look where this is. Tomorrow there's a body here. Our life is going to be ruined because of this. Fuck.
Honestly, I mean, if someone would, I don't blame him, dude. Like, it's not easy to just accept, especially these days.
But think about it. If I had an actual body to get rid of,
No, please don't.
that's not the route I would go.
Yeah, you'd rather go do it yourself.
Exactly.
Uh,
Okay, anyways, so these guys bounce.
mm.
And I'm just at this.
Oh,
fucking-
they scored.
Yeah, they're like,
Okay.
dude, we can't do this. I'm sorry, bro. The soil's not right. And they bounce, and so I'm just with my friend, and we just walked. We like, few steps away from the location. We walk up, and we're like, I'm just looking at the ground, like, what the fuck to do now? And I just look up, I just look around, and I see a couple of JCBs.
Okay.
So I'm like, hey, what if we ask them to,
Them to dig it up.
we'll probably take a second for them to do it. So I walked up this JCB dude, I tell him my situation and the entire story and stuff. He's like, awesome dude, you buy me a cigarette, you get me some tea, I'll fucking dig as many graves you want. You can bury an entire family if you want. I'm like, okay, awesome dude. And he comes in and he's super excited.
What did you pay him to do it?
$100 and cigarettes and tea.
To dig a grave for you.
Yep.
And the previous guys were charging what?
They wanted 10K.
Brilliant, dude. Brilliant. That's called Jugaad, dude. That's
Yeah,
real Jugaad.
That's indie filmmaking for you.
Yeah.
So this dude's super excited and he's happy. Oh, it's a movie. Where's it coming out? And all of that and stuff. I'm like, awesome, dude. I'm going to add your names in the credit.
Credits.
And you're the first person I'm going to share the fucking film to as soon as it's out. And yeah, he was
deserves
super
it.
happy. He was there on the day of the shoot. He was helping us out.
Nice.
It was fun.
So what's
He
the
liked
other
the film too.
Is it?
I made sure to send the film to him.
I'm glad. What's the other one you wanted to speak about? There's another moment you wanted to speak about.
I mean, yeah, this is my epic moment, man. Anything from here.
Nothing comes
This is
close
like
to
the
digging the
highlight.
grave. So I feel with the type of ideas you're going forward, I think you're going to have more and more of these experiences. That's the feeling I'm getting, because the kind of ideas you're putting out are pretty, off the system, and I'm sure to shoot them, you're going to face quite a few challenges. Can I tell them about the picture you showed me? about?
Oh no, man, because that's like a complete spoiler of the film.
Okay, so I can't tell you about that. So Bharat, I think I think there's only one thing left, on this interview, right? And that is, I really genuinely believe that whatever you're planning, I think it's all going to work out for you, bro.
Thank you so
And
much, dude.
for me, that's very important to feel that, because any person I want to call on this show, I want to have that sense of, confirmation that this person is serious about his shit. He or she is not joking around with what they want to do. So I really feel things are going to fall in place for you. And all I'll say is, I want you back on the show at different milestones of your career, your journey, your process, whatever you want to
For
call
sure,
it,
man.
right? So I'm glad you're here. I had a good time. I hope
Same
you
here,
did too.
dude. Same here.
And so guys, I hope you liked that first episode of On a Personal Note with Adarsh Sakare. We are going to be back with another episode next week, same time. It's going to be a little different. This is just the beginning of the journey. I hope you liked it. Let me know what you thought about it. If you have any other ideas, we'll definitely be sure to consider it. Thank you for watching. Be sure to join us on the next episode. See you soon.